Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. This public hearing is called to order at 6:30 p.m. on Monday, September 11, 2023, at the East Midwood Jewish Center. The purpose of this meeting is to hear public testimony with community members with respect to fiscal year 2025 budget recommendations to Community Board 14. These will assist the board in its development of priorities for city resources and services in the city's fiscal year 2025 capital and expense budgets. Community Board 14 posted the form and surveys for suggestions and/or recommendations by the Flatbush and Midwood community members regarding what is needed in their respective communities on its website at www.cb14brooklyn.com. District Manager Sean Campbell will continue to review responses to determine whether suggestions can be handled through regular service delivery process or to include them with the capital and expense budget requests. Members of the public were asked to register for time to testify on the website or by contacting the board office. I do not believe we have any pre-registered speakers. If you will be speaking from the floor, please state clearly for the record your name and organization, if applicable, prior to giving testimony. I'm going to hand it over to District Manager Sean Campbell to discuss the matter.
Thank you, Chair Brown, and welcome back from me too. Just a quick overview, because there are some new members and members of the public here who might not know the budget process. So just quickly, this is the time of year that we begin to think ahead to FY25, which will begin in June of 24. It's the upcoming budget. We have this public hearing, so we take comments from our community residents. I'm also, and we'll talk more on this later, engaged in budget consultation with 15 plus city agencies. And then we also turn to our service delivery requests, our records of service delivery requests to ascertain what it is that this district needs in the new budget. We have this public hearing, and then in October, this will be distilled with that other information into the budget priorities, which accompany our district needs statement. The district needs statement is managed by the Department of City Planning. The budget requests are managed by OMB, but they dovetail it all together into a document that we will then, October's public hearing will be on what results from this hearing and those other steps. We then get a citywide statement of needs, and we get agents' responses sometimes in the winter. We will review those responses. Barden is laughing because he remembers that it seems a little bit like playing ad-libs, or what are they called, mad-libs? But I'll talk about that too. So this is really step one in the process that will culminate in the FY25 budget to be released in June of 24-ish. So one thing that we're really pleased to see is an increase in the number of community residents who are participating in this part of the budget process. We got a number of responses. It is now a survey, and it used to be just open-ended, and the survey has really lent itself to kind of guide the responses toward the district needs statement as it is currently written, so that we can update it accordingly. And so the comments we have are in the categories that are in the district needs statement. And I'm going to jump right into those. In the category of healthcare and human service, there was an overwhelming preponderance of people expressing needs pertaining to the prevention of unsheltered homelessness, as well as the street outreach for the unsheltered homelessness that does exist. Then there was there were first, second, and third choices. So in the first choice, it's services regarding homelessness, as well as some mental health service responses. Number two, the second priority was the flip-flop of the first priority. So again, it was prevention and then also street outreach services. And then an additional item came up in the second choice, substance misuse treatment. And then in three, it was another sort of smattering of those same expressions, as well as services for aging adults and vulnerable populations. Under youth education and child welfare, there was a large number of youth workforce development requests, which pertain mostly to DYCD programs, SYEP, Compass, Letters for Leaders, et cetera, and some after-school programs, and then some requests for services for runaway and homeless youth services. There was a small number of immigrant youth and family programs, and then for the second choice, there was more of that. And in the third choice, you start seeing more requests for early childhood programs and school amenities. I think that there might, if we were to do the survey all over again today, there might be an additional, like an increase in the immigrant youth and family services because of what's going on in our community with shelters. So we will take that into account. Public safety and emergency services was a little more spread out in the first choice categories. A large number of firefighter and EMS headcount increase requests, a few NYPD headcount requests, but in that request one, there's like including additional school crossing guards, which I think pulls in votes, and then some security cameras, and then some requests for funding the community-based organizations that disrupt violence and are the cure violence organizations. In the second choice category, that's where the 70th Police Precinct House pops up, both in terms of building a new one and finding a new location, as well as capital improvements in the current. And then in the third choice, we get to some NYPD youth program outreach service requests. That brings us to core infrastructure. If misery loves company, I was very pleased to see that everybody wants more sanitation and manual litter patrol. And we've been asking for them to re-baseline manual litter patrol in the budget ever since they cut it during COVID. And then there was a small number of flood prevention first choices, but in the second choice category, flood prevention was everybody who had put sanitation first put flood prevention second. And then there was some catch basin cleaning, some basket collection increases, and canine waste education and enforcement. Moving on to housing, land use, and education. No. Housing, land use, and economic development. This was another one of those sort of flip-flops between prevention and provision of new. Increasing affordable housing units, and then also preserving and maintaining currently provided affordable housing units. And for the second choice, that then just flip-flops. Glad to see some support for Newkirk Plaza being adopted into the DOT pedestrian plaza program. And then I was surprised to see, pleasantly, that there were a lot of first choice support for bids. I found that interesting. So we will reflect that. Then in the second choice, more for Newkirk Plaza, and then we start seeing in choice 2 and 3 some requests for senior housing. And in the third choice category, there were some requests for reviewing all land use proposals through the lens of open space, which makes sense in our park poor district. And then there was also a couple of expressions for review all land use proposal through the lens of through a racial impact lens, which is something that the city has been talking about and seems to be supported in our community. Transportation. The number one request for number one choice was traffic calming and safety installations, then roadway maintenance, and then subway station upgrades and improving the mass transit rider experience. And then in choice 2, those MTA subways and mass transit rider experience, those then hop up to like almost everybody's second choice if it wasn't their first. Same thing happens. Oh, and then in choice 3, we start seeing some new ones like improve street lighting, fund studies, because DOT doesn't fund their own studies, so studies don't get done. So I guess they guess a lot. And then and some requests for expanded open streets. Finally, under parks and cultural facilities, there is the number one request as a number one choice was work with the descendant community to fully realize an African burial ground memorial at Bedford and Church Avenues. Then there was rehab, enhance parks and playgrounds. Then there was a request for new parks and playgrounds, and one request for a dog park. In choice 2, a lot of support for libraries come up, both capital as well as program services, and then some tree pit maintenance votes. And I was surprised this was third, but then in the third choice there is the increase the tree pruning cycle, and the way the phone has been ringing and emails have been pouring into our office, that will be buttressed with service delivery data. We're getting a lot of calls about that. So that was it. That was kind of the synopsis of our respondents. That is, you know, when you're doing a jigsaw puzzle and you get that one piece in that makes you go, now I can do this whole section. So that was that piece of the puzzle. And then I did budget consultations on Friday, have 2 more days of those coming up. And those will then feed into our budget priorities if that is approved at this public hearing and ratified by the board tonight.
Thank you very much, District Manager Sean Campbell. Since this is a public hearing, I want to invite members of the public to comment if they have any comments. Seeing none, I'd like to open the discussion up to board members. If any board members have any items of discussion about points that District Manager had brought up. Sorry to make you walk.
That's fine. Thank you for that report, Sean. I'm just concerned with recent mayoral announcement with regard to fiscal year 25 coming up. There was an announcement of a 15% PEG, which is programmed to eliminate the gap. For those that don't understand, how would that affect just our service delivery needs? And also borough-wide, if you want to share any insight on that. Thank you.
In the past, go ahead.
Or maybe talk about how PEGs have affected us previously as well.
Yeah. So in the past, community boards were held harmless for the PEG adjustments, for the budget adjustments. I think that's partly because we're the only citywide agency that hasn't had a baseline increase in 25 years. And so every other agency is being reduced from an increase, and that's not so with community boards. I think too, and hopefully the mayor recognizes this. When people come to the community board, it's often because they've hit a hurdle at a city agency, that the agency isn't providing the service in an efficient way, and they're stuck, so they come to us. So to the extent that other city agency budgets will be cut, it's going to be harder for them to continue the level of service, which is already kind of at a decline because of the headcount issues in the city over the past couple of years, which makes community boards all the more important to help unstick the stuckness, and we're a real bargain considering we haven't had the baseline increase. But the real answer, the shorter answer would have been, I don't know.
Thank you very, very much for your question. Any additional questions or topics of discussion from board members? Yes.
So, District Manager Campbell, thank you very much for that report. So, my question to you is just to remind folks in the room the survey that we have on the Community Board 14 website where we're collecting community input. Has that window closed, or is it still open to provide the feedback?
Patricia, is the survey, people can still fill out the survey on our website, right? Yeah. It's still live. And I think we're going to leave it open until our budget priorities, until the October budget priority thing. And then I'll report back to you in October. Maybe we should just leave it open because there's nothing wrong with collecting data all year long.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you very much.
thanks for that, Carl.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much for that. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
Just, as always, want to appreciate what Sean and Joanne, et cetera, in the office have done in putting together this document over time. The question is there anything we can do in our committees to take some of the burden off the few people who, actually put so much time into sorting through the information, asking the questions, and putting the answers out.
We have in the past made sure that the committee meetings include agenda items that, sorry, I hadn't thought of this, but we can start looking through some of our committee agendas through budget lenses in order to try to feed that into the process all year long. As far as the deadline and the district needs statement, I think we're pretty well covered because there's not a lot of real changes. But thank you for thinking of that. Also, I love this stuff. Don't feel bad.
Any additional, yes? You'll have to, Sahid, you'll have
You need a
to-
microphone.
need a microphone.
It's for live stream.
It's okay. Yes, actually I just want to add one thing that new Kirk Plaza place is really a beautiful place, but last so many months that converted to a very messy, and there is a lot of shops outside. It's okay, there is a small business, we need to improve that small businesses, but there is a lot of other activities are going on, so we need to look after that new Kirk Plaza safety, please.
Thank you very much for that, for the input on Newkirk Plaza. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close the discussion. Do I have a motion to include the comments to date that you have just heard here tonight from the district manager? May we include those comments in our district needs statement in the 2025 budget draft request? Seconded. All those in favor? Anyone object? Anyone wish to abstain? Okay, thank you, everyone. This public hearing is closed at 6:48 p.m. All right, so in order to give ourselves a little bit of breathing room within the meeting, I thought that if you had words that you wanted to say about Dwayne Joseph, we would use the next 12 minutes to do that. I think his wife and his family would appreciate hearing it. So if you're comfortable, please go up to the mic and say those words. And if not, you can, just say them to the room.
Hi, Hinzi Benzel, board member. He was such an inspiration. He was constantly doing so much good for the community. He was always smiling. He was always happy. He was always there to help people. And he was just he was an inspiration to all of us. So he's definitely going to be missed.
Joe Dweck, he was a warm friend. I loved sitting next to him, and loved seeing him. Look forward to it every month. And his impact on the hundreds of youths that for the youth conference is enormous. That will be his legacy. The impact that he had positively on them, and the enormous loss to futures.
Yeah, I think Dwayne was, I just always thought of him as very selfless. He was always just, willing to listen to people's problems, really a natural problem solver, wanted to make things better for the community. Sometimes people, do public service, community board, going to elected office for the wrong reasons. Sometimes, it's for stepping stone or other things. I think Dwayne just really wanted to be here and do what he could to help solve community problems and make things better for his neighbors, and I always appreciated that. I think the last time we sat up here before the meeting started, in addition to telling me that he had just gotten married, Dwayne was commenting on the fact that he saw on my Facebook that I was out at like concerts a bunch. He's like, "You got to be home with your kids more, man." And I gotta say, Dwayne, I did take your words to heart this summer. I spent a lot of time with my kids. I actually did take them to some concerts too. So, definitely I'll always remember that as among the last words that I heard from you. So, yeah, just a model community board member and someone I'll never forget.
Yes, of course.
Good evening, everyone. I ditto and concur to everything that was said in reference to Dwayne, Andrew, Jeremy, Joseph. I didn't know Dwayne personally, only through being a board member and all of what he brought to us at this board meeting. I was privileged and honored when I was able to attend it's celebrating the life of Dwayne, Andrew, Jeremy, Joseph. And while once again I did not know every nuance, but that afternoon, it was indeed a celebration of his life. And it spoke to the passion he had, the caring person that he was, and if any of you get a chance to read his obit, oh my God, you would be able to really think about, especially for those of us who have worked with him, of everything that he was about. In my opinion, he was passionate, he was caring, he was a mentor, he was a role model, he led by example, he loved Brooklyn, hey? And it was all of that. And one of the things that it mentioned here about his passion, it said that he had a passion for the community and the people. In fact, the people were first. I was really struck, however, during the services when there were so many youth there. And they came up to speak about Dwayne and how he had inspired and impacted their lives. You know, where many of them were troubled, but they were able to, Dwayne, you know, he focused on helping them to do the right thing, and he led by example. And I thank him for that. Just in closing, I would like to read, and I'm wondering if this was really a quote by Dwayne, because it seems like it's a quote by him, but it says, "Somebody once said, we never know what is enough until we know what's more than enough. Each person must live their life as a model for others. All I know is I've tried my best. If there is no struggle, there is no progress." And in closing, I'm just blessed to have known and worked side by side with Dwayne. Thank you.
First, I'd point out that it's sadly appropriate that on 9/11, we're here mourning the loss of one of our own. And so my condolences to those of the rest of you who are his friends and to his family if you're watching. The great thing about Dwayne is that he always made you feel comfortable. You know, I hate public speaking. You know, I'm thinking of him standing here with me now. It's the only reason I'm able to get up the courage to get here and talk. Because he's my guardian angel. He's standing here watching over me. You always felt like you were in good hands with him. I mean, I remember I was sitting in the back of the board once when we were back at the auditorium at the school, and he was flubbing his lines or something. He just stopped for a minute and he said, "This ain't my first rodeo." And everybody in the audience just immediately relaxed. It's like you wanted things to go well for him, you wanted to be his friend, and he made you feel that comfortable. But he could be very tough. When some agency came before us that he felt had like not really stepped up to bat, You know, he and I would have a chat before the meeting, and I'd say, "You're really not going to say that, are you?" And he goes, "Oh, yes, I am." "Oh, yes, I am." He said, "You're not." "Yes." "Oh, yes, I am." And he would say it. And, you know, he was like the good cop, bad cop. He would be willing to, you know, speak truth to them. And he also could be tough on the youth, which is funny. He and I were both doing mock interviews, and we were like across the way from each other. And so I was trying to be encouraging and say, you know, don't be intimidated by these guys, and, you know, really go for what you want. And I turned to Dwayne, and he goes, "I'm the dream crusher." I said, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "No, these kids come in sometimes thinking that everything's going to be laid out for them on a silver platter. And it's my job to tell them they're going to have to step up, they're going to have to work, they're going to have to speak for themselves, and they're going to have to really take control of their future." So ever since then, I've always thought of him as the dream crusher, even though it doesn't really seem to make much sense. He prided himself on being an independent, really politically independent. You know, every now and then I'd tease him. I'd say, "Oh, come on, Dwayne, you're really a Democrat." He'd go, No, I'm an independent. Nope, totally an independent. And so I'd always hoped, you know, and it's now so sadly cut short, you know, his life and career, that he would run for political office, because he would have had an ability to perhaps get two sides to speak to each other, because he truly considered himself an independent. Totally dedicated to the community, as everyone else has pointed out. What I'd like to see happen is have the community show its appreciation, and maybe a street co-naming or a park co-naming, since now we're sort of in that you know, sort of pattern. And I just want to end with, I'm going to say one last thing that Dwayne would have wanted me to say, which is, whatever happens, don't forget the youth conference.
I think I have time for one more. Okay.
I think a lot of you already know how I feel because I sent out the notice, you know, in the midst of the heartbreak. But I think, first of all, he'd be a little miffed if we didn't also say he was good looking. But I want to recognize his wife, Carolyn. When I spoke to her, she was nothing but grace personified. Her sadness was acute, but her appreciation for kind words and wishes and people's participation in the celebration of his life and their willingness to wear bright colors instead of black and all of that, she really truly appreciated and was just so grateful and gracious. So we will continue our relationship with her.
I want to thank you for coming up tonight and speaking those beautiful words. Okay, so in 2 minutes we will start this board meeting. Thanks, everyone. We're good. You ready? Before somebody else comes up. Good evening, everyone. Whew, it is not the end of summer, but it feels like it. Welcome back. Nice to see your face, even though I just saw you in August, begrudgingly, tease. This meeting of Brooklyn Community Board 14 is called to order on Monday, September 11th, 2023, at 7:01 p.m. under the applicable statutes of New York State, the Charter of New York City, the board's bylaws, and Robert's Rules of Order. The board's policy is to encourage detailed public discussion of matters before the board at our committee meetings and at public hearings. Consequently, except by board members, there will be no public discussion at our regular monthly meeting of matters about which a public hearing or committee meeting has been held. Specific service delivery requests or complaints should be brought to the attention of the district office staff by calling the board's office during regular business hours or by visiting our website at any time. Other matters of civic interest may be brought before the board during our scheduled public comment period, which will begin tonight after all other business on the board's monthly meeting agenda has been concluded. No partisan political appeals or advertising of for-profit enterprises will be heard. Persons wishing to speak during the public comment period were asked to pre-register. This moves us to the minutes. Were there any changes to the minutes submitted to the office via email? Oh, sorry, attendance. Oh, I have to fix that.
Sorry, belatedly at the start of the meeting, I made some corrections that I submitted over there. I flubbed some of the directionality of some of the bike lanes in my committee report.
Okay, we'll take attendance and deal with it. Yeah. Keep doing that. I have to do this.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Okay. Wakil Ahmed. Gregory Alvarez. Here. Hindi Bendal, present. Benjamin Bendit. Here. Christopher Bromson. Here? Is Christopher here?
Christopher?
No. Okay. Joanne Brown.
Here.
Michelle Brunson. Edward Chen. Sen. Carmen Sarabel. Carl Henry Cesar. Florendia Ajeta-Chang. Yvette Claire-Jean. Okay. Mark Cohen. Stephen Cohen.
Here.
Elizabeth Dennis. Here. Derek Donald. Here. Sabina Derville. Joseph Dweck. Yehuda Eckstein. Lee Harmon. Musa Hassan. Mere Porpikari Harris. Did I pronounce that correct? Mordechai Huzarski. Nadika Johnson. Shahid Khan. Naomi Lipnick. Donald Loggins. Sasha Masluski. Sasha? No. Melissa Minich? Minnick. Okay, Melissa Minnick. Ephraim Nuremberg. Okay. Boris Noble. Eric Ast. Okay. Ornella Parker. Susan Phillip. Svi Plotzker. Edward Powell. Okay. Barton Passant. Mohammed Razvi. Bazaruhi. Nina Sagber. Talisha Steinveld. Moshe Schoenfeld. Joel Siegel. Gail L. Smith. Abram Traff. Deborah Valentin. Corazon Valiente. Don Mary Walker. Glenn Wallen. Okay, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Now, moving on to the minutes. Sorry about that. Were there any changes via email submitted to the board office? Not by email. Do we have changes from the floor? Recognizing board member Dennis.
Hi, I think that Steve probably has most of these, but just noting that it should be eastbound on Cortelyou in the addendum, westbound on Dorchester, westbound on Foster, eastbound on Avenue I, westbound on Avenue J, and then southbound for East 12th and 18th, and northbound on East 13th, East 13th and East 17th. And also I would add that it would be better to say proposed shared paths along and through the parade grounds to reflect that they're shared with pedestrians instead of cars, if that's friendly.
Steve Cohen, do you concur with those suggested changes in your addendum?
All the directions that I just heard Liz say sounded right in terms of the corrections, and what you suggest for the parade ground sounds fine to me too.
Okay, thank you very much. Any additional corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, with the corrections that were brought from the floor, do I have a motion to adopt the minutes of the June meeting 2023?
So moved.
Seconded? All those in favor? Anyone object? Anyone wishing to abstain? All righty, motions, the minutes have been ratified for the June 2023 meeting. Moving on to district manager's report.
Thank you. I certainly want to repeat my welcome back to everybody. It certainly feels like the beginning of a new meeting season and a Monday in September, but I do want to pause to acknowledge that it is September 11th, and it, as normal as this day was, it will never be a normal day. You know, with the human losses and humane losses and cultural and emotional losses of this day, I just wanted to take a moment to reflect. And note that it sort of makes me want to double down and improve the community we have here, because I think that we are greater than the sum of our parts. And with that, I also want to thank Chair Brown. We had a busy summer, and we did a lot of work over this busy summer. And so thank you, Joanne, for working so hard and always being available and listening to me when I have ideas, or when I'm even once in a while griping. So thanks for your availability and all your hard work and support.
Both of you.
And so there's a lot coming up. Borough Service Cabinet meetings begin tomorrow, and it is a district manager only, so we'll work with Borough Hall to set our agenda going forward this year. District Service Cabinet meetings will begin in October, and just so everybody knows, those are the meetings that I convened in the office with all of our liaisons to the city agencies with which we partner. And then our Future of Community Boards group took this month off because of budget consultations and our busy September pivots, but we will begin to meet again in October. And I worked with my colleague Celeste Leon from CB4 to rewrite the narrative for our Future of Community Boards report, so that's a preview of coming attractions. I think it's going to be a good story this year. As I mentioned, we have started our budget consultations. I met on Friday with my colleagues. We had a consultation with DOB, SBS, ACS, DYCD, NYCHA, and DIFTA. I know it's a little bit of an alphabet soup, but we will report back on all of those meetings. Always really interesting. And this year we took a new tact where we didn't start all over from the beginning asking questions that we asked last year and the year before and sometimes even prior. We kind of took off from the point where we left off with the city agencies when they gave us their responses to our budget requests from last year, in most cases, those responses were not satisfying or adequate in any way. And so we sort of pressed on the inadequacy of those responses, especially given that they differ from the budget consultations that do tend to be more substantive, and learned a little bit about what the budget process looks like from the agency side looking into the platform that they have to fill out. So I think we did some really good work in figuring out how we approach DCP with a better platform for more meaningful responses that go public. So that they don't tell us when we want an increase, they'll increase things within existing resources because that means it's coming from somewhere else. Or that when we request a study, they say our request for a study needs further study. That's just got to stop. And I think that we made some leeway there, headway. One thing that we do already know is that the city does continue to be understaffed, and so we're going to report back on head counts. And Mr. Sun raised the announcement of budget cuts across the city agencies. But as I said, I think that that's going to make the work that we do in the district office all the more necessary, and hope that we will get support from our elected officials as we have in the past to be held harmless that from the agency cuts. I know DSNY, you're like, I know. But we will all do what we have to do with the budgets we get. I think the rest, that is going to be it for I feel like I missed something. Give me a second, looking over my notes. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for listening. No, I'm sorry, there was one more thing. I will be submitting applications for planning fellows again this year. And some of the stuff we want to focus on comes out of the survey that we went over at the public hearing and our service delivery requests that we get in the office. So I'm going to apply for 3, maybe even 4, and we're going to get some focus. I'm going to apply to get focus on flooding and some environmental issues in the district. I've always wanted to do a tree pit census that is not only where they are, but the condition that they're in. And then I'd like to do some work on HPD and the serious housing code violations in our district, which is one of the highest in Brooklyn per 1,000 units of housing, which is odd in this district. And then as we did last year, because I thought that it was really useful to have a planning fellow who was focusing on the upcoming zoning text amendments. We'll be talking about one of them a little more tonight. And DCP's process is not always really super inviting of public input. So having that head start with a planning fellow has been really useful. So I'll do that application as well. I'll keep you all posted.
Thank you very much, District Manager Sean Campbell, and also let me acknowledge how very hard that you work. I'd like to acknowledge representatives of our elected officials in no particular order. From Councilmember Farrah Lewis's office, we have Abraham Malachowski. From Assemblymember Robert Carroll's office, we have Mary Kay Siri. Welcome. From DA Eric Gonzalez's office, we have Nancy Lulu. From the 17th Precinct Community Council, we have President Ed Powell. And I want to acknowledge from East Midwood Jewish Center, Wayne Rosenfeld. Thanks for the use of the space this evening. Moving on to the chair's report. Good evening, board members. Community Board 14 acknowledges that today marks the 22nd anniversary of the September 11th attacks on the United States. We continue to remember the immense bravery of our city's first responders and the lives of innocent people that were lost on that day. On August 7th, board member and first vice chair Dwayne Joseph passed away very unexpectedly. We are brokenhearted and his contributions will truly be missed. Before the start of this meeting tonight, board members had the opportunity to share their remembrances, and I thank you all for that. Please just join me in a moment of stillness so that we may honor his dedication to this community. Thank you, everyone. Committee of the Whole. I am reporting out that a meeting of the Committee of the Whole took place on Monday, August 21st, 2023, remotely via WebEx. The purpose of this meeting was to discuss the board's recommendation with regards to the City of Yes zoning for carbon neutrality, citywide zoning text amendment. Based on the preliminary position to approve the text amendment with conditions, a set of conditions was drafted, and the consensus among board members was to present them at a public hearing, which was held on Thursday, September 7th. That being said, do I have a motion from the floor to suspend this committee? Oh, right? Thank you. All those in favor of suspending the Committee of the Whole, since we are back in session? Anyone object? Thank you, everyone. I see that Councilmember Farah Lewis is with us. Would you like to address the assembly?
Hi. Good evening, everyone. It's better to be in here than out there. Good evening, I'm Councilmember Farah Lewis. So happy you all are here, dry, well, and happy. Thank you so much, Chair Brown, District Manager Sean, and the rest of the board and the executive board for hosting today. I just wanted to go over a few things really quickly, welcoming everybody back. Hope you all had a great summer, a restful summer. And thank you for doing the moment of silence for Dwayne. I know that his spirit is still with us. He definitely left an imprint in our lives and in our community. And I'll never forget how proactive he was in the youth conference. So I'm hoping that we continue to keep his legacy going, because he was very passionate about that. I wanted to quickly share an issue that Sean actually brought to my attention, and we're proactively trying to get a better response than the email that was sent today. But DCP hosted a vote today for the City of Yes on carbon neutrality, and there's 2 more votes to go. So we just want to make sure that they're a little bit more forthcoming. I told them how dishonest they were with changing the date. I don't know if you all discussed that, so I won't get too much into that. Not yet? All right, so I won't do too much. But I did see the email response, and they did send me an apology via text to share with the community board this evening. That's not enough, obviously. So we want to make sure that we hold them accountable, because the recommendations that they're giving is supposed to change the whole city of New York, and it's important for them to take the responses, the recommendations and comments coming from every part of the city of New York, including from here, and being as transparent as possible. So we're going to make sure we hold their feet to the fire. So thank you for bringing it to my attention. Thank you. Appreciate that. Also, DSNY Commissioner Tish came to the district last week, Thursday, and we did a walkthrough with her in about 7 areas in our district for curbside composting. If you're interested in getting a free composting bin, it's completely free, and you have, I believe, until October 13th to get your bin. So if you're interested, my office can get you a bin. It get delivered to your home if you're interested, and it's a really cool way to keep up with what's happening right now in the city of New York, as we want to get rid of the rats, but also it's a great way for us to continue recycling and make sure we're keeping our city clean. And last but not least, we have a shred event at the Memorial Sloan Kettering Center Saturday, September 30th. I have a flyer in the back. HPD on the go to help anyone that has any violations with their landlords, or if you have questions, or if you own a property and you want to enter the market with HPD. They'll be in the district October 10th at Newkirk Plaza. There's information on that table, but if you want to get a little bit more information, I have Avraham here from my office, and you can also reach out to us, and we will make time to meet with you to make sure that you're involved in that process. Last but not least, just want to wish everyone that will observe a happy and blessed and peaceful Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And one last thing I wanted to share, and I didn't have it in my notes here. Oh, 9/11, we did some memorial services today, so all those that are mourning and participating, we stand with you. But one last thing I wanted to share before the month is over, we have a package of bills in the city council that we're going to pass on endometriosis. In my time at the council, it's been very short as a council member for 3 years. I've encountered a lot of women who suffer with fibroids, fibrosis, endometriosis, and those that are having just a really hard time with reproductive health. We're gonna pass a package of bills this month, so stay tuned and I'll keep you posted on where we are in that process. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Lewis. Committee assignments. Board members received committee assignments on Friday, September 8th, with the meeting reminder. I want to thank all of those members who submitted preferences. We did our very best to honor your choices, and the process was focused on two goals: diversity and balanced representation on all of our committees, and extending leadership to newer members. Term limits that began in 2019 will make board members who were appointed on or before that time ineligible to be reappointed for no less than 1 year in 2027. My goal is to deepen the bench of institutional knowledge and expand leadership experience to members appointed after 2019 so that we will remain productive, thoughtful, and experienced to represent our community. The co-chairs are as followed. Transportation Committee is Joel Siegel and Musa Hassoun. Housing and Land Use is Talisha Sainville and Greg Alvarez. Human Services Committee is Florencia Chang Ajita and Yvette Clairjean. Community Environment, Cultural Affairs, and Economic Development Committee is Ed Sen and Melissa Minnick. Youth Services, Education, Libraries Committee is Carl Henry Cesar and Eric Ost. And Community Safety Committee is Hindi Bendel and Barton Prasant. Moving on to public hearings. A public hearing on September 7, 2023 at the Brooklyn Community Board 14 District Office. The purpose of this hearing was to hear public testimony with respect to a special permit application to the Board of Standard and Appeals, calendar number 2023-21BZ, 1337 East 24th Street, Block 7660, Lot 29. Application has been made pursuant to sections of 73-622 of the zoning resolution of the City of New York to request a special permit to allow the enlargement of an existing single-family home on an R2 zoning district contrary to the underlying floor area, FAR, open space, OSR, side yard, and rear yard requirements. The recommendation of board members in attendance was to approve the special permit. Is there any discussion on the matter from board members here tonight? Seeing none, do I have a motion to recommend to the Board of Standard and Appeals to approve the special permit application calendar number 2023-21-BZ, 1337 East 24th Street? Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone object? Anyone wishing to abstain? Is anyone ineligible to vote? The motion carries. Thank you, everyone. For the next public hearing. A public hearing was called to order on September 7, 2023 at the Brooklyn Community Board 14 District Office. The purpose of this hearing was to hear public testimony with respect to a special permit application to the Board of Standard and Appeals, calendar number 2023-27-BZ, 3199 Bedford Avenue, Block 7607, Lot 15. Application has been made pursuant to Section 73-622 of the zoning resolution of the City of New York, special permit to allow the enlargement of an existing single-family home in an R2 zoning to the underlying floor area, FAR, open space, OSR, side yard, and rear yard requirements. The recommendation from board members in attendance was to approve the special permit. Is there any discussion on the matter from board members here tonight? Seeing none, do I have a motion to recommend to the Board of Standard and Appeals to approve the special permit application calendar number 2023-27-BZ, 3199 Bedford Avenue?
So moved.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone object? Anyone abstain? Anyone ineligible to vote? Thank you all. Next public hearing. A hearing was called to order on September 7, 2023 at the Brooklyn Community Board 14 District Office. The purpose of this hearing was to invite public comment on draft conditions on the Department of City Planning, City of Yes for Carbon Neutrality, Citywide Zoning Text Amendment, N230113ZRY, which were compiled during CB14's Committee of the Whole meeting that was held virtually on Monday, August 21st, 2023. Board members received the draft conditions via email for review. A copy was made available to the public on our website. The proposed zoning text amendment intends to implement changes to the city's zoning text resolution to remove impediments to and expand opportunities for decarbonization projects within all zoning districts. To update, and the council member gave it away, there was a meeting today at 1 o'clock, and the zoning text amendment passed with only one opposition from one committee member. So the commission will not have the benefit to see this document. However, I did provide comments at the Borough Board meeting that reflected the views of this draft before us, and those were included in the Borough Board's recommendations to CPC. The document we are approving tonight will serve to inform our city council members on the recommendations of CB14 when they convene to consider the matter. The recommendations of board members in attendance of this public hearing was to approve the zoning text amendment with attached conditions and recommendations. Is there any discussion on the matter from board members here tonight? And I'd like to thank the Housing and Land Use Committee. They were instrumental in gathering all of the comments and giving insightful feedback. Thank you. Nia, yes.
Are we able to find out what specifically they voted on and what the outcome of the vote were?
So the draft that we received, what turned out to be, it started as 163 pages, it's 177 pages. All of the changes in that document is what they voted on today. So the zoning text amendment changes that we were presented on several times, well, once formally and then information centers and our planning fellow and all the things and all of the meetings that we had on this. They voted on the text amendment and in consideration all of the comments that were submitted from all the community boards and the borough presidents throughout the city. Okay.
I'm sorry, you said there are 14 extra pages from what we saw?
Well, I think it's formatting. I don't think. Well, I think it's formatting and the way it was formatted to present to the commission. Yes. I don't know the person's name, but they were the commissioner from Staten Island. All right. Any further discussion? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the City of Yes Carbon Neutrality Citywide Zoning Text Amendment with said conditions and recommendations as outlined in our final draft? Seconded? Thank you. All those in favor? Anyone object? Anyone wishing to abstain? Anyone ineligible to vote? Splendid, thank you everyone. And yet another public hearing. The purpose of this hearing was to hear public testimony by community members with respect to the fiscal year 2025 budget recommendations to Community Board 14. This meeting was held on September 11th at the East Midwood Jewish Center this evening at 6:30. These recommendations will assist the board in its developments of priorities for city resources and services in the city's fiscal 2025 capital and expense budgets. The recommendation from board members in attendance was to include the comments that have been collected to date and outlined by District Manager Sean Campbell into our district needs statement. which is ongoing. Is there any discussion on this matter from board members here tonight? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve and include the comments received to the board office to date regarding the fiscal year 2025 capital expense budgets? Seconded?
Second.
All those in favor? Anyone object? Anyone wish to abstain? Anyone ineligible to vote? Thank you, everyone. All right. Borough Board report, no more public hearings. On Tuesday, September 5th, the Borough Board meeting was held. The first agenda item was to discuss and vote on the Department of City Planning City of Yes for carbon neutrality citywide zoning text amendment. I provided that CB14 had offered preliminary approval with conditions as outlined in our ratified June document, which was uploaded to the ZAP portal. I offered other thoughts based on the August 21st Committee of the Whole meeting. The Borough Board voted to approve with conditions, provided that many other boards included, including ours. Borough Board received a presentation for NYC Department of Parks, from NYC Department of Parks and Recreation regarding new signage standards that will eliminate clutter of multiple signs into a single sign that is compliant for accessibility. The Public Design Commission approved the sign for citywide use. As for Prospect Park, the new design also needs to be reviewed by Landmark Preservation Commission. Board members eligible to vote recommended to approve the signage in Prospect Park. The process will continue to LPC. Any questions on this? Okay. Board members received a presentation from the Metropolitan Transportation Authority with an update of the Interborough Express. CB14 received a presentation earlier this year on IBX in Transportation Committee. They have completed their feasibility study and have determined, based on the current right-of-way, that the system will operate as light rail. The tunnels will need to be widened to be expanded to 4 tracks from 2. There will be a small stretch as IBX enters Queens from Brooklyn, where the system will have to be routed to street level because they cannot tunnel in the area of a cemetery. Questions revolved around price structure, and currently the IBX is slated to be part of the New York City bus and subway system, so transferring will not be a second charge. Based on the mobilization of construction, the widening of tunnels, and the footprint of stations, I asked if there was a possibility of residential and commercial land acquisition. The MTA stated that this will not be a zero land acquisition project, despite having a significant existing right-of-way. So just to put that in other terms, there will likely be property that will have to be acquired to make this project happen. That will be determined in the environmental impact study. Next steps are the MTA's environmental impact study process and then presenting those findings to the public. Announcements from Borough Hall included a sustainable building resource fair on Thursday, September 21st from 4 to 7 p.m. at Borough Hall. The fair aims to help buildings comply with Local Law 97 and is sponsored by the Borough President, Councilmember Lincoln Ressler, and the New York City Accelerator. There is also a new series of workshops for community board members. The first one will be on September 28th via WebEx, covering an introduction to affordable housing, and will be presented by Housing Preservation and Development. There are several others that are coming through the rest of the year, one on affordable housing, a few others, and so we'll put those dates up on the website, and I encourage you to attend. Well, I think that that completes the chair's report. I surprised myself. I thought I had more to say, and I'm happy. All right, this moves us to topical committees. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, question.
Just wanted to note regarding the IBX. Obviously, I wasn't at that meeting, but they did a webinar in August. So I assume the presentation was the same or similar. And the topic of transfers to subway stations came up, and I believe they showed a map showing that they intended that there'd be a direct transfer at the Flatbush Avenue, Brooklyn College subway, as well as Avenue H. I forget if there were any others in the community district, but they did flag those too, so I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you. Before I move on to, you have any question? You have a question? Yeah.
Thank you for the report, Chairwoman Brown. My question is, in the presentation about IBX, by chance, were there any initial timelines shared in terms of when they thought they would start and complete their environmental impact analysis, and a general idea of the time frame for the IBX, or that's still to be determined?
So I recall that the environmental impact study is going to start very, very soon, within in the next few months. It's funded and can be done. With regards to the project, with actual construction, if we talk about construction timeline, it was mentioned that with new technology to build tunnels, where the tunnels are actually built off-site and brought into the work area built, that they think they can complete the actual construction in 5 years. Now, after the environmental impact study, and after public presentation and comment, they'll have to go get the funding. So that will take some time, and then they'll do the actual hard designs and drawings. So we are definitely minimum 15 years away, I think. That's all you asked, right? Okay. All right. I just wanted to acknowledge that Portia Edwards is here from Senator Zelnor Myrie's office. Welcome. All right. Topical committees. The first committee to report tonight, it will be Transportation Committee.
Hello, everybody. I'm co-chairing the committee this year with Musa, and we're happy to speak with you tonight. Welcome back, everybody. And I just wanted to add my name to the list of people mourning Dwayne Joseph. I didn't get to work with him directly, but he was such an obviously intensely dedicated person, and so I want to acknowledge that. Anyhow, and thanks to Steve and Ed for chairing our committee last year. And indeed, Steve prepared a report tonight, and I think Musa is going to deliver it. Yeah? Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Musa. I've been on the community board for about a year. Just saying hello as a co-chair, or co-co-chair, or whatever. All right, so earlier this year, the DOT had presented to the Transportation Committee about how, because of work being done on the BQE, there would be 3 weekends this past summer where that would cause traffic to be diverted down Caton Avenue during those weekends. As a general update, those closures did not happen ultimately, and DOT is conducting a traffic study to determine whether the BQE cantilever in Brooklyn Heights will be 2 versus 3 lanes going forward. At this time, we don't know when or if the weekend BQE closures will occur, though DOT did previously tell us that they would give plenty of notice to community members and drivers before that happens. Besides that, as a general note for everyone's information, our next meeting is on September 22nd at 6:30. We have 2 presentations. One is by the DOT, coming to speak to us about the Coney Island Avenue and Cortell U Road intersection, which we know many people in the community are hate and don't like at all. So that should be an interesting presentation. And we're also having the MTA come in and present on the ADA project for the Church Avenue train station. Is that all?
Yep, that's it.
That is all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that report. Next is Housing and Land Use Committee.
Good evening. I'm Greg Alvarez, and my co-chair, Talisha Sainville, who unfortunately couldn't be here this evening. We're co-chairing again this year, Housing and Land Use, so we definitely look forward to that. It's an honor to serve in this position again. We look forward to all the new members that are part of the committee as well. At this time, I don't think we have a meeting that's set, but as we've heard, some of the issues that we'll be talking about this year will will be ongoing, particularly the next phase of City of Yes economic opportunity is just around the corner. So keep an eye out for our next meetings, and we welcome everyone to join in. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that report. Just want to acknowledge that Police Officer Michael Joseph is here from the 7th Precinct. Thank you for being here. Next committee is Human Services Committee. I know that Florencia is not here, but we have the other co-chair.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Yvette Clearjean, and this year I'll be co-chairing the Human Services Committee with Florencia, and I look forward to working with all the committee members. We do not yet have our first meeting set, but we'll be meeting with Sean to plan out the year and to talk about the nonprofit roundtable, which will be happening in the spring. Thank you.
Thank you. Next committee is Community Environment, Cultural Affairs, and Economic Development Committee.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Ed Sen.
And Melissa Middick.
I just wanted to take this opportunity to say, just to echo what Greg was saying with regards to City of Yes and in regards to City of Yes for economic opportunities. They in fact have a public info session tomorrow evening. It's on Zoom, so it can be found on their website. So it's 7 p.m. tomorrow evening. I'm sure both Greg and our committees will have lots to say about this, and maybe we can actually get a head start on the matter. But yeah, that's all.
Yeah. We don't have our first committee, our meeting scheduled just yet, but we look forward to all of our committee meetings and our members who will be serving. So thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks for announcing that info session. Today's hearing on the City of Yes for carbon neutrality was also live streamed, and it's on the Department of City Planning website as well for anybody who wants to take a look at the meeting that they would have participated in if they had held to the September 13th date. There was a long 1-hour introduction by Dan Doctoroff, which made some interesting points. So it's kind of a preview of coming attractions for the upcoming zoning text amendments this year.
Thank you. Next committee is Youth Services, Education, and Library Committee.
So, hi folks, my name is Carl Henry Cesar.
And I am a new co-chair, Eric Ost.
And together we're this year's co-chairs of the Youth Services, Education, Libraries Committee. So, first things first, I hope none of you are Giants fans, because if you are, it's going to be a long season. So that being said, it's true. But main thing though is just we don't have a meeting yet. Like our other co-chairs have said before, we work with the office, and as we have that agenda set, we'll definitely let people know. And then the other thing too is from the families of Carolyn Davis Joseph and Dwayne Joseph, there has been a fund created in his honor. And so there's more information on the CB14 website if people would like some more details regarding what that situation is. But just wanted to give people a heads up. And
so I feel like just to expand, the fund itself is to support and expand the programming of the CB14 Youth Conference. And, it's just like a tribute to Dwayne's civic spirit and his dedication to the youth of the community. And it's on the CB14 website, and it's under a really lovely tribute written by Joanne. So you can find it there, or on the COPO website, the Council of People's Organization. You can find it directly there as well. I just want to also offer my condolences to Dwayne's family and his friends that are here. I feel like I had just to say one thing, I had the privilege last year in my freshman year on the board, to serve on his committee with Barton as leadership as well. And definitely inspired me, and definitely missing him. And I thought about him too, because he was co-chair of the Youth Services Committee. So I feel like in this year we'll get to honor Dwayne, and I think we're moving the youth conference up a bit. We're thinking about that. So anyway, just wanted to make sure, blessings to Dwayne and his family.
And that's it from us, folks. So thank you very much.
Well, Coco, yeah.
What about Coco Golf? Oh, you want the whole reel? Okay, so let's do the whole reel then. So, okay, so I got you. So Gail calling us out. This is what the community does, right? This is active engagement. So then, if we're doing the sports reel, you're so lucky. You get a free CB14 Sports Center reel, right? You don't gotta pay cable prices for this. Okay. Yeah. Shout out to Coco. Djokovic handled his business, right?
I did hear the Giants, they want to switch their conference. They're thinking of switching to the SEC. They feel like, we're Big Ten, baby.
Or maybe the Pac-12 or the ACC, which now has the West Coast, right?
Dwayne would appreciate this tangent.
He really would, actually. So Gail, thank you very much for keeping us honest.
Do I need to ask for the bylaws committee to meet again so we have a sports committee? And a weather committee. Oh my goodness. All right. Thank you, everyone. The next and last next topical committee is Community Safety Committee.
I know nothing.
Good evening, everyone. So this is the second year that I have the privilege of co-chairing this committee, and I'm very excited to be working with Bart and Prasan. It was amazing to work with Florencia, so I guess you have big shoes to fill. But we haven't set a date yet, and we're going to be working with Sean and Joanne to figure out, what our schedule is going to look like, and we're looking forward to working with whoever's on our.
I guess I'll also say that I look forward to sort of drawing on the institutional knowledge of you having been chair and been on the committee, Ed Powell and Joe Dweck, who, from the very first days that I joined the board, made it so apparent that the depth of their knowledge and involvement in issues of public safety will, I think, help guide me. So thanks to you both, and to you. Look forward to serving.
Thank you very much. That concludes topical committees. Moving on to ad hoc committees. A report from the CB14 Flatbush African Burial Ground Task Force. As you know, Dwayne was co-chair of that task force, and Talisha is not here tonight. So I will say that at this time, there's no report from this task force, and a date in the future to be determined for the next meeting. Thank you. Moving the agenda forward, just a quick thanks to Mark Moss for helping us live stream this meeting this evening. Hey, hot off the presses, look at this. This brings us to our public comment period. Board members are expected to remain for the public comment period. Speakers can sign up for time with Patricia Olander at the back of the room until the beginning of the public comment period. Matters of civic interest and announcements of public events are invited. No partisan political appeals or advertising of for-profit enterprises are permitted. Each speaker will be permitted to speak for up to 3 minutes and may not receive additional time from another speaker. Speakers are directed to address the assembly from the front of the room at the microphone here. At the conclusion of the 3-minute period, each speaker must return to his or her or their seats. The board has an obligation to conduct its business in an orderly manner. Any person preventing the meeting from continuing may be asked to leave. The intent of the public comment period is to permit the board and the community a chance to hear diverse perspectives on public issues. Accordingly, speaking time will be assigned first to speakers from different groups, then speakers addressing different issues, and finally, time permitting, to additional speakers on an issue from a single group. Last session, we had multiple libraries here, and they came up together, and I didn't know they were from different branches. So all of the library branches should present separately tonight, just a little gentle reminder. So you all get, each branch gets their own 3 minutes, okay?
There's other branches, but I don't know if they're here or not.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, I didn't know who was here. I just wanted to let you know, because I didn't want there to be confusion tonight.
Okay.
Well, it is 7:51, and the first speaker is Juana Flores from Brooklyn Public Library. And the speaker after that will be Antonio Whitaker from DSNY.
Good evening. This is like, there you go. Good evening, everyone. Now, I don't have any issue. I want to say to everyone, thank you for your ongoing support to the libraries. We appreciate that. We were presented with cuts, and they reinstored it. So let's give it a clap for all who advocate on our behalf. Thank you. And now for some key talking points that I want to let you know. As you know, libraries are more than books. We are about information, and information comes in all type of forms and resources. So one of the resources that I would like to present to you tonight is called College Connect. So if you know anyone who is entering college, we have this program called College Connect, where there's a counsel person who could counsel the student in helping select the colleges and try to get scholarships. So that's one of the things that we are doing. For those who need tutoring, like homework help with math, writing, and science, we have something called Brain Fuse, and you can find that on our website. Also, for teens, a lot of people are looking for internships and volunteer service for your teenagers. We do have a lot of teen internship programs, like something called Library of Tomorrow. We are looking for future librarians. So those who are interested in becoming a librarian, this is an opportunity to volunteer and get some side. There is a little stipend at the end of the year that you can do. Also, besides that, we also had teenagers taking over the branches after hours. That's an opportunity for teens can hang together and plan events that they will like. And we had like a successful year last summer and last spring, and where teenagers actually took over some of our branches. Let me see what else here. Okay, those who know about Jay-Z, anybody know Jay-Z fans? Anyone? Hip hop? Raise it, go, whoo-hoo. No, come on. Well, as you know, this is the 50th anniversary of hip hop. And one of the exciting things that we had is something called Book of Hobbs, and it's by Jay-Z. For those who do not know Jay-Z, he is Beyonce. Do you know Beyonce? Husband. So we had this amazing exhibit in Grand Army Plaza, the main library, where we actually had 60,000 visitors this year coming to see his exhibit. If you've never seen a Grammy before, go and check it out. You'll see a Grammy in person. It's a very beautiful exhibit with Jay-Z and Rock Nation, his company, and it's expanded to December. Also, we have limited edition library cards, 13 of them. They're hot. Okay, sorry. They're hot to go, so please come and collect them. And lastly, my branch is located on East 16 and Avenue J, and we have tons of programs for all ages and books, of course. So please come and join us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker will be Antonio Whitaker, and followed by Nancy Lulu.
Good evening, Community Board. How y'all doing tonight? All right. So it's pretty hard to top the library, right? You know, 50 years of hip hop with a limited edition card. Like, you know, I'm just a garbage guy here to talk about garbage. It just, I'm just more on a pretty face and a green shirt. But my name is Antonio Whitaker. I am the Assistant Director of the Community Affairs Bureau at the Department of Sanitation. Thank you all for having me tonight. I just want to take a brief moment to talk about something that the council member had mentioned, which is curbside composting. It will now be required for all Brooklyn residents to compost their food waste, and that's going to start on October 2nd. As the council member had mentioned, if you want a brown compost bin from the department, you can order one for free. You can go to nyc.gov/curbside composting. Put in your address to just validate whether or not you already have one. If you don't, the department will send you one in a couple weeks. And I have flyers like this on the back table. You may have also received a mailer a couple of weeks ago, something that looks very similar to this. So basically, we're out in every neighborhood just letting folks know to, please work with us, compost your food waste. A lot of folks don't know that 1/3 of the city's garbage is food, and that could be composted and turned to fertilizer. We can give that away for free. We're going to sell it to other cities to get additional revenue for New Yorkers. We're going to give away 40-pound bags of free compost to folks when we have it. So please, 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 we ask that everyone participate. We know that it's going to be pretty hard. People are, just muscle memory. Folks are going to just throw out their food in their garbage, without thinking about it. But we're asking folks to take that extra initiative to actually put it in that brown bin. Or if you don't have a brown bin, you can use any bin you want. It just can't be any bigger than 55 gallons. And if you need any additional materials, if you need stickers or decals, you can go to that website, again, nyc.gov/curbside composting to order decals for your bins. Yes, ma'am.
I just was a little curious about something. I got my bin as soon as I saw it, boom, I hit the button. So thank you very much. But we're supposed to put a plastic bag in the bin and that entire thing gets collected, plastic bag and all. I'm just trying to.
So we ask that you line it with a plastic liner, but you don't have to. So if you line it with a plastic liner, it'll probably be a little easier to clean the bin, but you don't necessarily have to.
Yes. No, you're first.
Am I correct that along with the food composting, you could put out leaves and brown leaf bags any week? In other words, you don't have to wait for the leaf events?
Yeah, so leaf and yard waste separation will also become mandatory. For the last couple of years, it wasn't, but it will become mandatory at the same time. With food compost, will become mandatory. So, yes, it'll be picked up on your recycling day. Correct.
Twice a year.
Right. Yeah. So now we'll pick it up on your recycling day. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Yes, I received a bin, so my question is, two-family, am I eligible for another bin?
No, it's one bin per building. Yes. Yes.
Can meat and dairy go in there too as well?
Yes.
And can I put a bio bag if I don't want to use a plastic bag?
I'm sorry. Say again.
Can I use a compostable bag if I don't want to use a plastic bag?
You can, but the compostable bags with if you're putting in some type of liquid like dairy or something, it'll break down. It'll just leak all over the bottom of your bin and then congeal. So then when we try to dump it out, it'll break and it'll partially come out, and then you'll have to basically just hose it out. So I wouldn't suggest you do that. You could if you wanted to, but I would just use a clear plastic liner.
And is most of what's getting composted turned into gas, or is it actually going to fertilizer?
Oh, so it's going to our composting facilities in Queens. There, so we will be catching a lot of the that the composting will create. So I can definitely get more information on that, but that's one of the goals of composting is to decrease the amount of methane gas that's released. Yes.
We do have to move along, but we'd be happy to hold a committee meeting regarding this item. I know we have a lot of questions. I do have several other speakers that are waiting to speak.
Sure. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for understanding. Next speaker is Nancy Lulu, followed by Abraham Malachowski.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well and hope that everyone had a great summer. My name is Nancy Lulu. I'm from Brooklyn DA Eric Gonzalez's office from the Office of Public Engagement. I bring greetings on behalf of DA Gonzalez to everyone. I wanted to let you know that our office has been extremely busy and active, not just with prosecuting cases, but we've been out in the community engaging and participating in community events. I wanted to share that our office will be holding a Hispanic Heritage Month event on September 28 on Fulton Street from 6 to 9. RSVPs are required, so please RSVP and come and join us. Also, I wanted to share that if you have a public safety matter that you would like to address with our office, you could call the Action Center at 718-250-2340. I have flyers in the front. And I would like to conclude actually with extending my heartfelt condolences to Community Board 14 members and family and loved ones of Dwayne Joseph. You will be dearly missed. And as well to the 9/11 family and loved ones, to the victims, you are in our prayers and our thoughts. I also want to wish everyone a happy Rosh Hashanah and upcoming holidays. Thank you to Community Board 14 for everything that you do. You guys are great. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker is Abraham Malachowski, followed by Jordan Hicks.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Avraham. I'm here on behalf of Councilmember Farrah Lewis, who just spoke a couple moments ago. I'd just like to give a few announcements. First off, I'd like to once again start by offering the council members' condolences to the family of Dwayne Joseph. His hard work on behalf of the community board will not be forgotten. During this month, our office hosted 2 back-to-school giveaways, which between both of them, we've given over 3,000 backpacks to the community. We'd like to give a thank you to all of our sponsors who assisted us with this. Our office had the opportunity to join Assembly Member Bishat Hermelin with her DOT walkthrough, along with Commissioner Rodriguez, and we are working closely with both offices in order to ensure that certain items will be put in place in order to stop the speeding and other transportation issues that the community board has been facing. I'd just like to announce some upcoming events as well. We will be having our paper shredding event on September 30th by Memorial Sloan Kettering, which is 2236 Nostrand Avenue. This will be happening on September 30th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We will also be having HPD on the Go, which will be October 10th, 2023 from 10 to 5. And starting September 27th, every 6 weeks, our office will be having a housing expert who will come in, and this is in partnership with Brooklyn Legal Services Corporation A, and they will be answering any legal questions that you may have about housing or anything to do with that. I'd just like to end off by giving our office's location. We're 1434 Flatbush Avenue. Our phone number is 718-629-2900, and our office hours are we're open 9 to 5 every day of the week. And if anybody has any other further questions or concerns, please come find me afterwards. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next speaker is Jordan Hicks, followed by Samantha Bernadine.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. My name is Jordan Hicks, pronouns she, they. If there's any accessibility concerns or needs, not concerns, I have on a blue denim shirt, a gray t-shirt under it, and black jeans. I'm here to introduce myself, but before that, I do want to offer my condolences to someone who seems to be an integral part of your social network, which is Dwayne Joseph. And I also want to offer my condolences to any families that are affected or have been affected by 9/11 on today. Again, my name is Jordan Hicks, and I'm here representing BK Reader. I'm a new freelance reporter with them, and I'll be covering the different community board meetings across the borough. Outside of that, professionally back home in Pittsburgh, I'm the board chair of a community development corporation, so there is some synergy in real life experience in terms of the intersection of social life and civic life and how it impacts communities and people. So I'm not just here extracting stories on y'all or like trying to get the scoop or anything. I do have a respect and understanding for what you all do. Again, I'm here with BK Reader just to make myself available and present to any of your concerns of things happening in the borough, any story ideas you may have, any issues that you feel like the news should be covering or looking into. I'll be here as a representative for that. And to build relationships with you all and just to show my face and try to build a rapport with you so that it doesn't feel like an extractionary relationship, like I'm coming here and getting the scoop. I also live in Flatbush. I'm a new resident, so I'm also a part of this community, but specifically playing a role as a journalist and reporter. So thank you, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thanks.
Thank you for that introduction, and welcome. Next speaker is Samantha Bernadine, followed by Mary Kay Siri.
Good evening, everyone. Trying to get out my chair being completely wet. I want to just say off the record, I totally feel that the disrespect for the Giants. So I just wanted to mention that, okay? So we will keep that, all right? Just saying. Good evening, everyone. My name is Samantha Bernadine. I'm the president for the Flatbush African Burial Ground Coalition. And I have a couple of comments as well as questions. I was unable to be here on time for the 6:30 session. I was informed that there was a questionnaire in regards to what the descending community would like to see at the African burial ground. I missed it, so I didn't know, so I wanted to ask for some clarity in regards to that. But I wanted to, before going into that, as everyone has said, on behalf of the coalition, we do humbly give our sympathy in regards to the death and passing of Dwayne. We have worked with him. I worked with him really briefly many moons ago when I was with Community Council and Mediation. And also on this somber day of 9/11, I just want us to take a moment and thank you for taking a moment in regards to that. We at the coalition, the leadership of the coalition, had submitted today an open letter in regards to some recent events that has happened on the burial ground. For the past 3 months, there has been a vendor that has basically assaulted as well as threatened members of the coalition, volunteers, as well as students, where if you go past the burial ground, you will see all of the artwork that was done by members as well as students of mine, because I teach at one of the schools next to the burial ground, was destroyed. We have filed a police report in regards to the individual, and unfortunately some of his associates are members of this community board. One of the things that we are also interested in knowing and whether or not the community board has been aware of is that it's been brought to our attention that our councilwoman, Rita Joseph, has had conversations in regards to some developers who are interested in building an African museum on the burial ground, and we are not aware whether or not the board is aware of that. As part of the descendant community, we have stated on numerous occasions that we do not want any kind of development being done without any true community engagement. And we want to make sure that our councilwoman is being held accountable for her promises and making sure that she engages with the community.
I'm sorry to interrupt, your time is up.
And with that being said, we ask for the community board support in regards to that. And if there's any information, to please share that with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up is Mary Kay Siri, followed by Portia Edwards.
Hi, everybody. Just a few quick announcements. Tomorrow night, Assemblymember Carroll's first of 4 constituent services evenings are going to start at the main branch of the public library on Grand Army Plaza. It's going to be from 3 to 6, and you can meet with me and my co-director of constituent services about any issues, and we'll help you on the spot. Assemblymember Carroll's also having a town hall on Wednesday, October 12th. It's from 8, there's going to be 8 to 10 city agencies there, including DOT, Department of Health, Department of Finance, DEP, MTA, HCR, NYPD. They're all going to be there tabling, so if you have questions for any of those city agencies, they'll be there and happy to answer them, any issues or concerns. We're doing a rain barrel distribution, how apropos to this weather, this Saturday in Prospect Heights. Call our office if you would like one, to reserve one, and we'll have it there, and you can pick it up on Saturday between 9 and 11. And we are working on a free flu shot event, and we're going to do it over here on Coney Island Avenue. We're working on a location, so stay tuned. Hopefully that's going to be sometime in October, and you can sign up at our office and call us in October, and we should know everything by around the end of the month. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next presentation is from Portia Edwards, followed by Marie Antoine Pierre.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Portia Edwards. I'm the District Director for State Senator Zelda Murray's office. I give my condolences to the board and to Dwayne's family. Dwayne was a very dear friend, and I'm going to stop talking now before I start crying. And to all of the families who are mourning the loss of family members or friends due to 9/11. This summer has been crazy, but also amazing. We culminated our series of Senator on Your Block this summer. However, we might be doing a few more in September. So keep your ears open for the dates. It's usually on a Thursday evening within the district where the senator comes out. I believe the last one we did was at the G train station or by the Prospect Park West and 13th or 15th over there. We did talk to a lot of people. It was amazing. We got some great feedback in the community. We just held our 3rd annual back to school giveaway and block party this Saturday, where we had the amazing Laura come out and volunteer with us. It was absolutely amazing. We fed a bunch of people, gave away beautiful book backpacks to our children. And so just wanted to say thank you all so much, CB14, for being, so diligent in getting information from our office, but also the work that you all do. If you have any questions or concerns about the office or anything that we're doing, please feel free to reach out to me. Our office is located at 1077 Nostrand Avenue, and our office number is 718-284-4700. I'll be in the back for a little bit longer as my kid is very rambunctious and wants to go to bed. So I'll be in the back for a little bit longer, and then I'll be heading out. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. Thank you.
I thought you came with an assistant.
Yes, I did come with an assistant today.
Thank you very much. Our last speaker tonight is Marie Antoine Pierre.
Good evening, everyone. So my name is Marie Antoine Pierre, and I am the co-founder of CDORF, Carmel's Depression and Anxiety Wellness Foundation. And I am here to commemorate and say thank you to the Brooklyn Public Library at the Cortelyou branch. So this past 6 week, we were able to host a 6-week summer clinic with the library. We partnered with them, and what we did, we held 6 different topics, right, for each week. We did introduction for mental health, we did coping with grief, and the 5th week, what we did, we allowed the participants to either write, draw, or paint their mental thought, and at the last session, they were able to showcase their specimens, and they spoke about, their mental health, where they're at, and so what we do, we are here to advocate, voice, and represent on behalf of individuals struggling, 18 and older, who are struggling with mental health, depression, and anxiety. We are a resource center, as well as we actually pair individuals with professional mental health experts if they are in need of it. But it was an amazing event, and I'm very happy that we did partner with the library to do so. Many people are struggling with depression and anxiety. I myself suffer with it, and I am carrying out this mission because that was, my purpose from God. And so now I am very comfortable. Suffered with it for 20 plus years, and I was unable to speak about it, but now I am able to do that. And so our organization serves as a platform to allow other individuals to, come up and share their stories, so that we could, help them to find the assistance that they need, and to get to wellness, right? And we want people to know that we are bringing awareness. We want people to know that we are not crazy, but we are individuals going through life situations, and and we're just asking for assistance. I've accomplished a lot in my life, and I want people of my community. And when I say people of my community, I'm speaking to these individuals who suffers with them. It's okay to to have depression and anxiety. Just make sure that you, just as you're taking care of yourself, also take care of your mental, your mental health. And last but not least, what we were able to do was speak to the library. We are going to have an area.
I'm sorry
in the
to
library.
interrupt.
I'm
Your
going to
time
go
is
real
up.
quick, and I'm going to finish. If anybody wants to speak to me or get more information, you can contact me at 646-780-9894. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you very much. I lied. There's one more speaker. One more, sorry. Sydney Renwick, please.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry, this will be quick. I'm the Chief of Staff to Assembly Member Brian Cunningham, and I just wanted to give a few updates. So one, we had a backpack giveaway at Major Owens a few weeks ago, which was very successful, and we're looking to partner with with our Community District 17 to also provide backpacks to a number of our students. We are also partnering with the New York State Comptroller's Office to host an unclaimed funds event. Details are forthcoming. I know people love those, so we're happy to host them. The second thing is that we are also working with the MTA to host a MetroCard van in front of our office. That will be on September 29th from 10 to 2. If you want reduced fare, you can also buy them there. They will be right in front of the office, which is 249 Empire Boulevard. The next quick thing is we do a partnership with My Time. They're an organization that helps to provide information for families who have children with autism or maybe on the autism spectrum. And so that service is hosted every third Thursday of the month from 11 to 1. That's something special we do. So if you need that service or know somebody who does, please have them come by our office. The last and final thing is we just want to say our condolences to the friends and family of Dwayne. I know that the assembly member was on the community board and definitely had a personal relationship, and so he wants to offer his condolences. And then secondly, to the friends and family of those who were lost in 9/11. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. This concludes our public comment period. Before we adjourn, I just want to wish everyone a happy Rosh Hashanah and Sukkot to those who are observing. Also, for those observing Yom Kippur, may your fast be easy. And lastly, sending warm greetings to you and your loved ones on Malwid al-Nabi for those celebrating. Do I have, yes?
We all love CB8. They're terrific. They're a great community to partner with. They are our friends.
We need a T-shirt committee, I'm told. More changes to the bylaws.
We don't do grass.
All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn. Seconded. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Welcome back.